The November wind bit through Maya's threadbare jacket as she huddled in the doorway of the closed bookstore on Fifth Avenue. At 23, she'd been on the streets for 8 months ever since her family had disowned her for coming out. The memory still stung worse than the cold. She pulled her knees closer to her chest, watching the stream of well-dressed shoppers hurrying past with their designer bags and expensive coats. Tomorrow was Thanksgiving, and the city buzzed with preparations she could only observe from the outside. "Excuse me." Maya looked up to find a woman in her late 30s standing before her. Elegant in a camel-colored cashmere coat, her dark hair swept into a sophisticated updo. Everything about her screamed wealth and refinement. "I'm not asking for money," Maya said quickly. A defensive habit she developed. The woman's expression softened. "I wasn't assuming you were. But you look cold. There's a cafe around the corner. Would you let me buy you something warm?" Maya hesitated. She'd learned to be wary of strangers, especially ones who seemed too kind. But something in the woman's eyes, a genuine concern without pity, made her not doubt the cafe was warm and smelled of cinnamon and coffee. Maya followed the woman to a corner table, acutely aware of how out of place she looked among the polished patrons. "I'm Catherine," the woman said, removing her coat to reveal a cream silk blouse and tailored pants. "Catherine Morrison, Maya." She kept her last name to herself. Catherine ordered them both hot chocolates and pastries without asking what Maya wanted. But somehow her choices were perfect: a croissant and a chocolate chip muffin. The kind of comfort food Maya had dreamed about. "So," Catherine said, wrapping her hands around her cup, "how long have you been on the streets?" Most people didn't ask directly. They danced around it or pretended not to notice. Maya appreciated the honesty. 8 months, you?" Catherine's eyes widened, then she laughed, a real, genuine laugh that made her whole face light up. "You're direct." "I like that, me?" "Never, I've been fortunate." She paused. "What's your story, if you don't mind me asking?" Maya did mind. She minded terribly. But something about Catherine made her want to talk, to be seen as a person rather than just another homeless kid. "My parents kicked me out when I told them I was gay," she said flatly. "I was in college, but I couldn't afford it without their help. Lost my dorm room, my meal plan, everything. Tried to work full-time and stay in school, but..." She shrugged. "Couldn't make it work. Been bouncing around ever since." Catherine's face tightened with something that looked like anger, but Maya sensed it wasn't directed at her. "I'm sorry," Catherine said quietly. "That should never happen to anyone, especially not from the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally." "Yeah, well." Maya bit into the croissant, trying not to wolf it down despite her hunger. "What about you? What's your story?" Catherine smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Successful divorce attorney, believe it or not. I help people untangle their lives when love goes wrong. I have a beautiful apartment, a successful practice, everything I'm supposed to want." She paused. "And I'm lonely as hell." The honesty surprised Maya. Rich people didn't usually admit to being unhappy. "I came out late," Catherine continued. "I was married to a man for 10 years. Realized I was living a lie. The divorce was complicated. My ex-husband was vindictive. I lost a lot of friends. My family was disappointed, though at least they didn't disown me." She met Maya's eyes. "I'm 42 years old, and sometimes I feel like I'm just starting to figure out who I am." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Two women from completely different worlds who somehow understood each other. "Do you have anywhere to go tomorrow?" Catherine asked. "For Thanksgiving?" Maya shook her head. "The shelter usually does a dinner, but it fills up fast. I'll probably just grab something from wherever is open." Catherine bit her lip, clearly weighing something in her mind. Finally, she pulled out a business card and a pen, writing on the back, "This is my address. If you want it, please don't feel obligated. I'm having a quiet Thanksgiving at home. Just me, too much food, and probably a bottle of wine. I'd love the company." Maya stared at the card. "You don't know me. I could be anyone." "You could be," Catherine agreed. "But you're not. You're someone who's had a rough time and deserves a decent meal and some kindness. Plus, I'm an excellent judge of character. Occupational hazard." She smiled. 2 o'clock tomorrow. "No pressure." Maya spent the night in her usual spot, the business card tucked safely in her pocket. She pulled it out several times, running her thumb over Catherine's elegant handwriting. Was this a trap? Some kind of setup? But for what? She had nothing worth stealing. By morning, curiosity and the promise of a real Thanksgiving meal went out. She used the public restroom at the train station to clean up as best she could, wishing she had different clothes, a shower, anything to make her presentable. Catherine's building was in the Upper West Side, all doormen and marble lobbies. The doorman eyed Maya suspiciously until she showed him the card with Catherine's address. "Ms. Morrison is expecting me," she said. Trying to sound confident, he made a call, then directed her to the elevators with a surprised expression. Catherine's apartment was on the 10th floor. Maya knocked, her heart pounding. The door opened, and Catherine stood there in jeans and a soft gray sweater, her hair loose around her shoulders. She looked younger, more approachable than she had in her business attire. "You came," Catherine said, and the genuine joy in her voice made Maya's chest tight. "I'm so glad." The apartment was beautiful but not ostentatious, warm hardwood floors. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the park, bookshelves lining the walls. Comfortable furniture that invited you to sink in. It felt like a home, not a showpiece. "I know you said 2, but I'm early," Maya apologized. "I wanted to help if you needed it." Catherine's smile widened. "Perfect timing. I could use an extra set of hands. Fair warning, I'm a good lawyer but a mediocre cook." They worked together in the kitchen, Catherine teaching Maya how to prepare the turkey, laughing when the gravy got lumpy, debating the proper amount of marshmallows for the sweet potato casserole. It felt domestic and comfortable, and Maya found herself relaxing for the first time in months. "So tell me about before," Catherine said as they chopped vegetables. "What were you studying in college?" "English literature," Maya said. "I wanted to be a writer. Novels, maybe screenplays." "I know, totally impractical." "Not impractical at all," Catherine protested. "The world needs stories." "What kind of stories did you want to tell?" Maya paused, the knife still in her hand. "Stories about people like us, I guess. LGBTQ characters who get to be heroes and fall in love and have adventures. Not just coming out stories like tragedy, just normal stories where we get to exist." "I'd read those," Catherine said softly. "I'd have killed for those when I was younger. Might have figured myself out sooner." They talked while they cooked about Catherine's practice, about Maya's favorite books, about the challenges of being out in a world that wasn't always accepting. Catherine shared stories about difficult cases, about helping women escape abusive marriages, about finding purpose in her work even when her personal life felt empty. When the food was finally ready, they sat at Catherine's dining table, which she'd set with actual china and cloth napkins. "This is too fancy," Maya protested. "Nonsense. When else am I going to use the good china?" Catherine poured them each a glass of wine. To new friendships and unexpected blessings. Maya raised her glass, feeling emotions swell in her throat. "Thank you. For this. For treating me like a person." "You are a person, Maya, a bright, talented person who's had some bad luck." Catherine's eyes were intense. "That's what people forget. Any of us could be one disaster away from where you are." The meal was delicious, the turkey perfectly golden, the sides rich and flavorful. They ate and talked and laughed, and for a few hours, Maya forgot about the cold doorway waiting for her, forgot about the uncertain future, forgot about everything except this moment of warmth and connection. After dinner, they moved to the living room, full in content. Catherine put on music, not the expected classical, but indie folk, mellow and contemplative. "Can I ask you something?" Maya said, curled up on the opposite end of the couch. "Anything. Why did you stop and talk to me yesterday?" "People walk past me all the time. They don't see me." Catherine was quiet for a long moment. "I saw you reading," she finally said. "You had a book looked like it was falling apart, held together with a rubber band. But you were so absorbed in it, despite the cold, despite everything. It reminded me that you were a whole person with interests and dreams, not just a situation." She paused. "And I've been lonely. I thought maybe you were too." "I am," Maya admitted. "It's the worst part, actually. Not the hunger or the cold or the uncertainty. The loneliness. The feeling invisible. You're not invisible to me. The words hung in the air between them. Weighted with meaning, neither was quite ready to examine Da. As the evening wore on, Catherine made up the guest room for Maya, insisting she stay the night. It's warm, the bed's comfortable. And there's a bathroom with an actual shower, Catherine said. Plus, tomorrow we can tackle the leftovers for breakfast. Maya wanted to protest, to maintain some dignity, but the thought of a real bed and a hot shower was too tempting. The shower was everything she dreamed of: endless hot water, expensive soap that made her skin feel clean for the first time in weeks, thick towels that wrapped around her like a hug. Catherine had left out some comfortable clothes, soft pajama pants and a t-shirt that smelled like fabric softener, when Maya emerged. Catherine had made tea and was sitting in the living room with a photo album. I thought you might want to see my journey, she said. I don't usually share this, but I feel like you'd understand. The album chronicled Catherine's life, her wedding photos, stiff and formal, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. Then pictures from after the divorce, the slow transformation as she began living authentically. Photos of pride parades, of vacations with friends, of a woman gradually becoming comfortable in her own skin. I was 35 when I finally admitted the truth to myself, Catherine said. 35 years of living a lie because I was too scared to be who I was. And even then, coming out cost me. My ex tried to use my sexuality against me in court, claimed I was unfit because I was gay. Some of my colleagues at the firm stopped speaking to me. My mother cried and asked where she'd gone wrong. But you survived, Maya said. I did. And I built a new life. But sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd been brave enough to come out at 23 like you were. She looked at Maya with something like admiration. You're so much braver than I ever was. I don't feel brave. I feel like I screwed up my whole life. You didn't screw up. You told the truth. That's never a screw up, even when it costs us everything. Catherine reached over and squeezed Maya's hand. And your life isn't over. You're 23. You have so much time to rebuild. With what? I have nothing. No money, no degree, no home. You have you, Catherine said firmly. You have your intelligence, your talent, your strength. Those things can't be taken away. Maya felt tears threatening. Why do you care? You don't know me. I don't know why, Catherine admitted. Maybe because I see myself in you, the younger version of me that never got to exist. Maybe because I have resources that could help and it seems cruel not to use them. Or maybe because in one day, you reminded me what it feels like to connect with someone, really connect. And I'd forgotten how much I needed that. They talked late into the night, sharing stories and dreams and fears. Maya told Catherine about her writing, about the novel she'd been working on before everything fell apart. Catherine shared her own frustrated creative impulses, the paintings she'd tried and abandoned, the piano she didn't play anymore. Stay, Catherine said suddenly. Not just tonight. Stay here while you get back on your feet. The guest room is just sitting empty. You could use it as a base while you look for work, maybe finish your degree. I can't accept that, Maya said automatically, even though everything in her wanted to say yes. Why not? Because I have nothing to offer in return. Because it's too much. Because you're proud and independent and afraid of being charity case, Catherine finished. I get it. So don't think of it as charity. Think of it as a trade. You keep me company in this too big apartment. Help me remember how to cook for more than one person. Maybe read some of your writing to me. And in exchange, you get a safe place to rebuild your life. That's not a fair trade. Let me be the judge of what's fair. Catherine's eyes were earnest. Maya, I'm not trying to rescue you. I'm not trying to be your savior. I'm offering help that I can easily give and that you clearly need. No strings attached. If you decide you want to leave, you can leave. But I'd really like you to stay. Maya wanted to say no. Wanted to protect herself from the possibility of getting comfortable only to lose it all again. But she was tired, so tired of being cold and hungry and alone. Okay, she whispered. I'll stay. Thank you. The next few weeks transformed Maya's life in ways she'd never imagined. Catherine helped her get a library card so she could use the computers to apply for jobs. She dug out old clothes that didn't fit anymore, professional pieces that gave Maya confidence for interviews. They established a routine, Catherine leaving for work in the morning while Maya job hunted or wrote. Then coming home to share dinners and conversation. Slowly, Maya began to trust that this wasn't temporary. That Catherine wasn't going to suddenly change her mind. She got a job at a bookstore in Brooklyn, nothing glamorous, but steady work with a paycheck. Catherine insisted she save her money rather than rushing to find her own place. Build a cushion first, she advised. Be strategic. But something else was building too, something neither of them wanted to name. The way Catherine's face lit up when she came home and found Maya there. The way Maya found excuses to stay up late so they could talk just a little longer. The accidental touches that lingered. The comfortable silences that felt intimate. One evening in mid-December, Maya was cooking dinner when Catherine came home looking exhausted. Rough day? Maya asked, pouring her a glass of wine. The worst. Lost a case I should have won. Client's husband managed to hide assets I couldn't track. Catherine slumped onto a kitchen stool. Sometimes I hate what I do. All these broken marriages, all this pain. Maya set down her spoon and moved to stand beside Catherine, hesitating only a moment before pulling her into a hug. Catherine melted into the embrace, and Maya felt her shaking with silent tears. You help people, Maya said softly. You give them a way out of bad situations. That matters, does it? Catherine's voice was muffled against Maya's shoulder. It does. You helped me. You gave me a way out when I had nowhere to go. You saw me when I was invisible. That's not nothing. Catherine pulled back, her face tear-stained, and Maya's breath caught. She'd always known Catherine was beautiful. But in this moment, vulnerable and real, she was breathtaking. Maya, Catherine whispered. And there was something in the way she said it that made Maya's heart race. Yeah? I think I'm falling for you. The words hung between them, heavy with possibility and risk. Catherine, Maya struggled to find the right words. You've been so kind to me. I don't want you to confuse gratitude for something else. I don't want to take advantage. You're not, Catherine interrupted. God, Maya, you're not taking advantage. I know the difference between helping someone and falling for someone. And what I feel for you, it's not pity or charity. It's the way you make me laugh. The way you see the world. The way I look forward to coming home because I know you'll be here. The way talking to you is the easiest thing I've ever done. Maya's hands were shaking. I feel it too. I have for weeks. But I was afraid to say anything because what if I'm wrong? What if I lose you because I misread everything? You didn't misread anything. Catherine reached up, cupping Maya's face with gentle hands. But we can take this slow. We don't have to rush into anything. I just needed you to know how I feel. I'm 19 years younger than you, Maya pointed out, trying to find all the reasons this was a bad idea even as her heart argued otherwise. I know. I'm basically homeless. You took me in off the streets. I'm aware. People will judge us. They'll say you're taking advantage of me or I'm using you for your money. Let them. Catherine's thumb traced Maya's cheekbone. I've spent too much of my life caring what other people think. I'm done with that. The only question that matters is, do you want this? Do you want to see where this could go? Maya thought about all the reasons to say no. The power imbalance. The age difference. The complexity of their situation. But then she thought about how Catherine made her feel seen, valued, cherished. How their connection felt real and deep and unlike anything she'd experienced before. Yes, she breathed. I want this. Catherine smiled, that real, genuine smile that transformed her whole face, and leaned in slowly, giving Maya every chance to pull away. But Maya didn't pull away. She met Catherine halfway, and when their lips touched, it felt like coming home. The kiss was soft and sweet and tentative, both of them aware of how much was at stake. When they pulled apart, Catherine rested her forehead against Maya's. We'll figure this out, she murmured. Together. They did take it slow, navigating the complicated dynamics of their relationship with care and honesty. Maya continued working at the bookstore and started taking online classes to finish her degree. Catherine supported her but never pushed. Always respecting Maya's need for independence, their first official date was simple. dinner at a quiet restaurant where they could actually talk, followed by a walk through the winter streets, hands linked between them. They talked about boundaries, about expectations, about their fears and hopes. "I don't want to be dependent on you," Maya said as they walked. "I need to know I can stand on my own." "I know. And I don't want to be your savior. I want to be your partner." Catherine squeezed her hand. "We're both adults. We both get to choose this every day." They met Catherine's friends, who were surprised but supportive once they saw how happy Catherine was. Maya reconnected with a few friends from college who hadn't abandoned her. Introducing them to Catherine with nervous pride, the age difference occasionally drew stares or comments, but they learned to ignore them. What they had was a deep connection built on mutual respect, shared experiences, and genuine affection. Spring came, bringing with it new possibilities. Maya was 3 classes away from her bachelor's degree. The bookstore had promoted her to shift supervisor. She'd started writing again, working on the novel she'd abandoned. And Catherine was her first reader, offering thoughtful feedback and unwavering encouragement. One evening in late April, they sat on Catherine's balcony, their balcony now, really watching the sunset paint the city gold. "I've been thinking," Maya said, "about getting my own place eventually. Not because I want to leave, but because I need to prove to myself that I can." Catherine nodded slowly. "I understand. And I'll support whatever you decide. But can I say something? Always. I don't want you to leave. I love having you here. I love our life together." Catherine took a deep breath. "I know it's fast and maybe I'm crazy, but I want to ask you something." Maya's heart started pounding. "Move in with me. Not as my charity case or my project, but as my partner. We'll change the lease to both our names. You'll pay what you can afford in rent. We'll make this officially our home together." Tears sprang to Maya's eyes. 6 months ago, she'd been sleeping in doorways, invisible and alone. Now she had a job, a future, and someone who loved her exactly as she was. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Really sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." Catherine took Maya's hand. "You've transformed my life, Maya. You've reminded me how to laugh, how to dream, how to be spontaneous and silly and fully alive. You've made this apartment a home. I don't want to go back to living alone." "Then yes," Maya said, laughing through her tears. "Yes, I'll officially move in. I'll put my name on the lease and pay my share and build our life together." Catherine pulled her close, kissing her deeply as the sun set over the city. The weeks following that second, Thanksgiving brought new challenges and deeper joys. Maya had officially graduated with her bachelor's degree in English literature, walking across the stage with Catherine cheering louder than anyone in the audience. The diploma felt like vindication, proof that she hadn't wasted her potential, that the detour through homelessness hadn't derailed her permanently. But with graduation came new questions about the future. "I've been accepted to 3 MFA programs," Maya announced one January evening, spreading the acceptance letters across the dining table. "Iowa, Columbia, and Michigan." Catherine looked up from her laptop, her reading glasses perched on her nose in a way that Maya found adorably professorial. "That's incredible. I knew you would get in. Your writing sample was phenomenal." "Columbia is here in the city," Maya said carefully, watching Catherine's reaction. "But Iowa is the most prestigious. And Michigan offered the best funding package." Catherine closed her laptop slowly, giving Maya her full attention. "What do you want to do?" "I don't know." Maya sank into the chair across from her. "Part of me wants to stay here with you, but part of me thinks I should take the best opportunity, even if it means being apart." "We always knew this might happen," Catherine said, though Maya could hear the tension in her voice. "When you started applying, we talked about it. You pursuing your dreams comes first, but what about us? What about our dreams together?" Catherine got up and moved to sit beside Maya, taking her hands. "Maya, listen to me. I love you more than I can express. But I will not be the reason you don't pursue your potential. If Iowa is the best program, you should go to Iowa. We'll figure out the rest. That's a 2-year program. 2 years of long distance, of only seeing each other on breaks. Then we'll do long distance," Catherine said firmly. "People do it all the time. And 2 years isn't forever." You'll finish your MFA, and then you'll come back and we'll continue building our life together. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. What if you meet someone else? Someone closer to your age, someone who's here? Stop. Catherine cupped Maya's face. I'm not going to meet someone else. I found the person I want to be with. Age difference, distance, whatever, none of that changes how I feel about you. But what if being apart changes things? What if we grow in different directions? Catherine was quiet for a moment, honest enough not to dismiss Maya's fears entirely. That could happen. Long distance is hard and people do grow and change. But I believe in us. I believe we're strong enough to handle 2 years apart if that's what's best for your career. Maya looked down at the acceptance letters, the Iowa one practically glowing on top. She knew Catherine was right. Iowa was the dream program, the one that could launch her writing career. But the thought of leaving Catherine, of giving up their daily routines and intimate evenings, felt like tearing herself in half. Can I tell you something? Catherine said softly. Something I've never told anyone? Maya nodded. When I was your age, I had an opportunity to spend a year studying. Abroad in Paris, I was engaged to David, my ex-husband, and he didn't want me to go. Said it was impractical, that we should focus on building our life together. So I stayed. Catherine's eyes were distant, remembering. And I've regretted it every single day since. I wonder who I might have become if I'd had that year to explore and grow and discover myself. Maybe I would have figured out who I really was sooner. Maybe I wouldn't have wasted a decade in the wrong marriage. You're saying I should go to Iowa. I'm saying you should choose what's best for you without worrying about me. Because if you stay for me and give up this opportunity, eventually you'll resent me for it. And I couldn't bear that. Catherine squeezed her hands. Go to Iowa, Maya. Write your brilliant stories. Become the writer you're meant to be. I'll be here when you get back. The decision was made, but that didn't make it easier. Maya accepted Iowa's offer, and the months before she left felt simultaneously too fast and agonizingly slow. They made the most of every moment weekend trips to the places they'd always meant to visit. Long nights talking about everything and nothing. Memorizing the contours of their life together, Catherine helped Maya apartment hunt in Iowa City via video calls, narrowing down options to a cozy studio near campus. They set up video call schedules, planned visits, discussed how they'd navigate holidays and birthdays. We should establish some ground rules, Catherine said one night as they lay in bed tangled together. For the distance, like what? Video calls at least 3 times a week. Daily texts even if they're just thinking of you. Honest communication about how we're feeling even when it's hard. Catherine traced patterns on Maya's shoulder. And we should talk about boundaries. About what we're comfortable with regarding other people. Maya propped herself up on her elbow. Are you asking about an open relationship? No, Catherine said quickly. I don't want that, not at all. But I want to make sure we're on the same page. You're going to be in a creative environment with lots of other young writers. There might be temptations. I don't want anyone else, Maya said firmly. Distance doesn't change that. You're it for me, Catherine. And you're it for me. Catherine pulled her down for a kiss. I just wanted to make sure we talked about it. Communication is everything. The night before Maya left, they didn't sleep. They stayed up talking, holding each other, trying to imprint the memory of being together in their minds and hearts. Catherine had taken the day off work to drive Maya to the airport. This isn't goodbye, Catherine said as they stood at security, both of them fighting tears. It's just see you soon. You're coming back for fall break in 2 months. 2 months feels like forever. It'll go faster than you think. You'll be busy with classes and workshops and making friends. And I'll be here reading every word you send me, counting down the days until I can hold you again. They kissed one last time, ignoring the impatient looks from other travelers. Maya forced herself to walk through security without looking back, knowing that if she saw Catherine's face, she wouldn't be able to leave. Iowa was everything Maya had hoped and everything she'd feared. The program was intense and challenging, pushing her writing in new directions. Her cohort was talented and diverse, full of passionate artists with stories to tell. She found herself part of a community of queer writers. People who understood her experiences and celebrated her authentic voice, but she missed Catherine with an ache that never fully went away. They kept their promises, video calls 3 times a week. Daily texts, emails sharing the details of their lives. Catherine sent care packages filled with Maya's favorite snacks and handwritten letters that Maya read until the paper was soft with handling. Maya sent Catherine drafts of her stories, chapters of the novel she was working on, pieces of her heart translated into words on a page. The first visit came after 2 months that felt like 2 years. Catherine flew to Iowa City for a long weekend. And when Maya saw her coming through the airport terminal, she literally ran into her arms. "You're here," Maya breathed, holding Catherine so tight she could feel her heartbeat. "You're really here. Did you think I wouldn't come?" Catherine laughed, though Maya could hear the emotion in her voice. They spent the weekend in Maya's tiny studio apartment, barely leaving except to grab food. They talked about everything they hadn't been able to say over video calls, the small frustrations and daily joys, the loneliness and the pride in each other's accomplishments. Catherine met Maya's new friends at a reading, fitting seamlessly into Maya's new world while still being distinctly herself. "I'm so proud of you," Catherine said on the last night, as they lay squeezed together in Maya's narrow bed. "You're thriving here. Your writing has grown so much even in just these 2 months. It doesn't feel worth it without you," Maya admitted. "Sometimes I think I made the wrong choice. You didn't. This is exactly where you need to be." Catherine kissed her forehead. "And I'll be back for another visit in 6 weeks. We can do this, Maya. We're doing it." The first year was the hardest. They navigated holidays apart, Maya spending Thanksgiving with her Iowa friends while Catherine volunteered at the LGBTQ youth shelter they'd been supporting together. Christmas found them both back in New York, stealing a week together before Maya had to return for the spring semester. There were hard moments. A fight over a missed video call that spiraled into fears about growing apart. Catherine's anxiety when Maya mentioned a classmate who'd asked her out, not knowing Maya was in a relationship. Maya's jealousy when Catherine attended a fundraising gala with a colleague who clearly had a crush on her, but they worked through each challenge. Their communication growing stronger with each obstacle overcome. They learned that love wasn't just about the easy moments of being together. It was about choosing each other even when distance. And life made it difficult. Maya's writing flourished. She published her first short story in a prestigious literary magazine, dedicating it to Catherine. She workshopped her novel, transforming it from a rough draft into something publishable. She found her voice as a writer, queer, authentic, unafraid to tell the stories that mattered. Catherine thrived too. She made partner at her firm, launched a pro bono program helping LGBTQ individuals with legal issues, and started teaching a class at the law school. She told Maya that having the space to focus on her career without the daily negotiations of cohabitation had actually been good for her growth. "I think we needed this," Catherine said during one of their video calls in the second year. "Not that I wouldn't rather have you here, but I think we both needed to prove we could stand on our own. That we're together because we choose to be, not because we need each other to survive." "When did you get so wise?" Maya teased. "I've always been wise. You just bring out the philosophical side of me." The second year was easier. They'd found their rhythm, learned how to maintain intimacy across the distance. They planned visits meticulously, alternating between Iowa and New York. They celebrated milestones remotely: Maya's 26th birthday, Catherine's promotion, the acceptance of Maya's novel by a literary agent. "It's really happening," Maya said breathlessly when she called Catherine with the news. "Someone wants to represent my book. Someone thinks it's good enough to publish." "I always knew it was," Catherine said, and Maya could hear the smile in her voice. "I'm so incredibly proud of you. When do we celebrate?" "I'll be home in 3 weeks for spring break. We'll celebrate then." Home, it slipped out naturally now. Despite living in Iowa, New York was still home because Catherine was their da as graduation approached. Maya and Catherine had to have serious conversations about the future. "I have a job offer," Catherine said during one of their calls. "A firm in Chicago wants to bring me on as a senior partner. It's an incredible opportunity, more money, more prestige, a chance to build a whole new practice." Maya's heart sank. "Chicago? It's closer to Iowa than New York is," Catherine pointed out. "Just a 4-hour drive. I know you're finishing your program, but I wanted to discuss it with you before making any decisions." Are you asking me what I think you should do? I'm asking what we think we should do, together. Maya thought about it carefully. What do you want, Catherine? Forgetting about me and distance and all of that, what do you actually want? Honestly, I'm tired of New York. It's expensive and crowded, and I've been here my whole adult life. The idea of a fresh start in a new city is appealing. Catherine paused. But not if it means making our relationship even harder. What if... Maya hesitated, then plunged forward. What if I came to Chicago too? After graduation, I mean. I could look for teaching positions at colleges there or freelance writing work. My agent is in New York, but I can work with her remotely. We could start fresh together. The silence on the other end of the line stretched so long that Maya thought the connection had dropped. Catherine? Are you sure? Catherine's voice was thick with emotion. I don't want you to give up opportunities for me. We said we wouldn't do that. I'm not giving anything up. I'm choosing something. There's a difference. Maya felt certainty settling over her. I've spent 2 years building my career and proving I can stand on my own. I've done that. Now I want to build a life with you, and I don't care if that's in Chicago or New York or Timbuktu. I just want us to be in the same place. Chicago is supposed to be amazing, Catherine said, and Maya could hear the smile in her voice. Great food scene, beautiful architecture, more affordable than New York, and we'd be together. And we'd be together, Catherine agreed. Okay, yes, let's do it. Let's move to Chicago and start our new adventure. The months that followed were a whirlwind of planning and logistics. Catherine accepted the job offer and started apartment hunting in Chicago. Maya finished her MFA with honors. Her thesis a collection of interconnected short stories about queer resilience earning praise from her committee. Her novel, titled Invisible No More, had been accepted by a publisher and was slated for release the following year. The advance wasn't huge, but combined with a part-time teaching position Maya had secured at a Chicago community college, it was enough to contribute equally to their new life together. They found an apartment in Lincoln Park, a cozy 2-bedroom with exposed brick and big windows. The second bedroom would be Maya's writing studio, a room of her own, as Catherine insisted. You need dedicated space for your work, Catherine said as they toured the empty apartment. Somewhere you can spread out your drafts and think and create without distraction. We could use it as a guest room, Maya protested. It seems indulgent to dedicate a whole room just to my writing. It's not indulgent. It's necessary. You're a professional writer now, Maya. You need a professional workspace. Catherine squeezed her hand. Besides, I need a home office too. We'll share the space, your writing desk on one side, my desk on the other. We can work in companionable silence. They moved in during a sweltering August weekend, their combined friends from both coasts helping them carry boxes up 3 flights of stairs. The apartment slowly transformed into a home, their books intermingled on shelves. Catherine's tasteful art mixing with Maya's quirky finds from thrift stores. Both their names on the lease and the mailbox. On their first night in the apartment, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes, they ordered pizza and sat on the floor of their empty living room. We did it, Maya said, leaning against Catherine's shoulder. After everything, the distance, the uncertainty, all of it, we actually made it work. Did you doubt we would? Catherine asked. Sometimes. Not because I doubted us, but because life is complicated and I know how easy it is for things to fall apart. Maya thought about those months on the streets, how quickly everything had unraveled. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. No more waiting, Catherine said firmly. We're here. We're together. This is our life now. They christened every room of the apartment that night, laughing and loving and celebrating their new beginning. Chicago suited them. Catherine's new firm appreciated her expertise and gave her the freedom to build her practice the way she wanted. She launched initiatives supporting domestic violence survivors and LGBTQ individuals facing discrimination. Work that fed her soul in ways the high-stakes divorce cases never had. Maya settled into teaching, discovering she loved working with adult learners who come back to education after setbacks. She saw herself and many of them people who'd had to take the long way around to their dreams. Her novel was scheduled for publication in the spring, and she was already at work on her second book. They made new friends, other queer couples, colleagues from their respective workplaces. neighbors who appreciated their warmth and openness. They hosted dinner parties in their apartment, joined a book club, volunteered together at a homeless outreach program. 3 years after they'd met in front of that bookstore, Maya and Catherine had built something solid and real. They'd navigated homelessness, distance, age differences, and societal judgment to create a partnership based on mutual respect, genuine love, and unwavering support. That third Thanksgiving, they hosted dinner for 12 people friends who become family, including several young people from the LGBTQ shelter where they volunteered. Maya cooked the turkey, having learned from Catherine's patient teaching, while Catherine tackled the sides and desserts. As Maya looked around their crowded living room, at the mismatched chairs they pulled in from the bedroom, at the card table extended to its maximum length, at the faces of people who'd found belonging in their home, she felt overwhelmed with gratitude. Speech, speech! Someone called out, and suddenly everyone was looking at Maya expectantly. She stood, her hand finding Catherine's automatically. I'm not good at speeches, I'm better with the written word. But I want to say something about gratitude and chosen family and second chances. She looked at Catherine, whose eyes were already glistening with tears. 4 years ago, I was homeless and alone, convinced my life was over because I'd been honest about who I was. Then a stranger stopped and saw me, really saw me, and offered me kindness without conditions. That kindness changed my life, but not in the way you might think. Maya squeezed Catherine's hand. It changed my life because it reminded me that I was still a person worthy of love and respect. Because it showed me that family isn't just about blood, it's about who shows up for you. And because it taught me that sometimes the most unexpected connections are the ones that transform us completely. She addressed the whole room now. Everyone here has a story. Everyone here has faced challenges and overcome obstacles and found ways to survive and thrive despite a world that isn't always kind to people like us. We're all here because we refuse to let circumstances define us, because we chose authenticity over acceptance, because we found each other and built something beautiful together. Maya raised her glass. So here's to chosen family, to second chances, to the kindness of strangers who become the loves of our lives, and to the courage it takes to keep showing up, keep fighting, keep believing that we deserve happiness and love and all the good things life has to offer. To chosen family. Everyone echoed, glasses raised after dinner. As people lingered over dessert and conversation, Catherine pulled Maya into their bedroom for a moment of privacy. I have something for you, Catherine said, reaching into her pocket. Maya's heart started pounding. Catherine, it's not what you think. Well, it is, but it's also not. Catherine pulled out a small velvet box. I know we've talked about marriage, about how it's not something either of us needs to validate our relationship, but I want to give you this anyway. She opened the box to reveal a simple gold band with a small diamond. This isn't an engagement ring, Catherine continued. It's a promise ring. A promise that no matter what happens, distance, career changes, whatever life throws at us, I choose you. I choose us. Every single day. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Catherine, you don't have to wear it. You don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to have something tangible that represents what we mean to each other. Catherine took the ring from the box. May I? Maya held out her hand and Catherine slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. I choose you too, Maya whispered. Every day, forever. They kissed as laughter and conversation drifted in from the living room, the sounds of their chosen family. Their community, their home. The book signing at Women and Children First Bookstore was packed. Invisible No More had been a surprise bestseller and Maya's second novel had just hit the New York Times list. But tonight was special. She was reading from her third book, a memoir about homelessness, queer identity, and finding love in unexpected places. Catherine sat in the front row, a position she'd occupied at every one of Maya's readings. Her hair had threads of silver now, which Maya found incredibly attractive. They got married 2 years ago in a small ceremony in their apartment, surrounded by the same chosen family that had shared that first Thanksgiving dinner in Chicago. This is for Catherine, Maya said, opening her book to a marked page. The woman who saw me when I was invisible, who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, who taught me that love isn't about rescue, it's about partnership, respect, and choosing each other every day. She read the dedication to Catherine, who stopped when others walked by, who offered kindness without conditions, who showed me that sometimes the end of one story is just the beginning of another. Everything I am, everything I've become, exists in the space you created by simply seeing me. Thank you for teaching me that being seen is the first step to being loved, and that being loved is the foundation for becoming whole. The audience applauded, but Maya only had eyes for Catherine, who was crying openly now, not bothering to hide her emotions. After the reading, after the questions and the book signings, they walked home through the Chicago streets hand in hand. Their apartment was in a different building, now bigger, with room for the family they were building through fostering LGBTQ youth who needed safe homes. Currently, they were supporting 2 teenagers who reminded Maya so much of her younger self. "Did I ever tell you?" Maya said as they walked. "But I used to think my life ended that day my parents kicked me out." "Once or twice," Catherine said with a smile. "I was wrong. That was the day my life actually began. Everything before was just prologue." Maya stopped walking, pulling Catherine close. "My real story started the moment you saw me and decided I was worth your time, your kindness, your love." "Our story?" Catherine corrected. "It's our story, Maya. You saved me as much as I saved you. Maybe more. How do you figure? You taught me how to be brave, how to live authentically, how to open my heart even when it was scary." Catherine cupped Maya's face. "You taught me that love isn't about age or circumstances or any of the external stuff. It's about connection, understanding, and choosing to show up for each other even when it's hard." They kissed there on the street corner. 2 women who'd found each other against all odds and built something beautiful from the wreckage of their separate paths. Above them, the stars shone bright despite the city lights. And in that moment, everything that had brought them to this point, the struggle, the distance, the doubt, the triumph, felt worth it. Because they'd found something rare and precious, a love that saw them completely, accepted them wholly, and challenged them to become the best versions of themselves. Their story had started with a simple act of kindness on a cold Thanksgiving Eve. But it had grown into something neither of them could have imagined, a partnership that transformed them both. A love that proved that sometimes the people who save us are the ones we end up saving in return. And as they walked home to their apartment, to their foster kids, to the life they built together, Maya knew with absolute certainty that every hardship, every setback, every moment of despair had been worth it to arrive at this moment of complete and utter happiness. Because in the end, love wasn't about rescue or salvation. It was about seeing each other fully, accepting each other completely, and choosing each other consistently. It was about building something together that was stronger than either of them could have created alone. It was about coming home.